PaizoCon 2024. It's the third day. It's the third day. Thank you so much for being here with us. We are really excited to talk to you about all the infinite possibilities with Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite. Before I go into my long spiel, I'm Meredith Gerber. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the partner relations manager at Drive-Thru RPG, as well as the representative for Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite. Dustin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, greetings. My name is Dustin Knight. I'm a Starfighter developer with Paizo and Infinite Master, and the administrator of the Infinite Possibilities Discord in Pathfinder Starfighter Infinite Creator Space.
Thank you for all the work you do. Alex.
Hi, I'm Alexander Augunas. You can call me Alex. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a lot of things. I'm the Master of Ceremonies on No Direction Beyond, which is No Direction Starfinder's news, reviews, and interviews podcast. I'm the owner of Everybody Games, and I'm also an occasional freelancer for Paizo. The last thing that I wrote that I'm allowed to talk about is the back matter in the Starfinder Dynamite comics, where I am the author of the Volcarisu, and I'm also the author of the Squawks, if you like Squawkses.
Thank you. Excellent intros. All right. So first and foremost, what is Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite? It is a great website that you get to create some beautiful, amazing work for Pathfinder and Starfinder. If you have questions about licensing, how to get started, and all those wonderful things, we have a fancy button if you go to Pathfinder Infinite or Starfinder Infinite that says Get Started, and we have some wonderful articles. Also, yes, we're having a sale this weekend on Pathfinder Infinite, Starfinder Infinite, Drive-Thru RPG, and Roll20 at 40% off some of your favorites. I have there's so many on Drive-Thru. There's 10,000 plus on Infinite. There's so many, so definitely check those out as that sale is ending soon. And on Roll20, they have close to 100 converted titles for you to play online now. So definitely check that out. And also there's bundles. There's so many bundles. There's so many flipping bundles. So definitely grab them. So first and foremost, let's go over a couple of things. We are going to use the term Infinite Masters sometimes. Infinite Masters is an invite-only group. They are some of the coolest creators on Infinite, and they get a couple perks as well. And they get a shiny, cool badge. They're just great. Dustin, can you tell us a little bit about your Discord?
Yes, I run a Discord called Infinite Possibilities that you can find at infinite.net, which I've thrown in chat. It is a community creator space where you can get private thread channels for your projects. You can join other people's projects. You can find tons of free guides. There's methods there to teach you how to make these PDFs and work on all these licensing stuff, and people there who could possibly help you with questions, with everything from rules to just talking about your favorite books. Honestly, there's a lot of people there who don't write, who are just there because they have products on Infinite they like, or they want to tell us like, hey, I found a rules kerfluffle. What's this supposed to mean? There's all types of people there. It's a really fun, chill community, and you can check us out at infinite.net.
Yeah. And I want to say too that the Infinite community are some of the most supportive people. That if you're looking to start, you do have a really supportive community within that Discord. And there's no question that they haven't asked before. So don't be nervous. Jump on in and start creating. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the process. Let's talk about all the fun stuff and the challenges and more coming up.
You want to know how the sausage is made?
Yes, how the sausage is made. All right, Alex, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
What made you? Oh, what?
No,
what? Go ahead. No, you were going to say something. You go first.
No.
Content.
No, give me direction. Please guide me.
Alex, what made you start working with Infinite, and what do you enjoy most about Infinite?
So, a little bit about me. I started with publishing back in 2014, where I partnered with publishers. I did a bunch of Pack Magic style rule sets for Pathfinder First Edition. Eventually, I decided that I wanted to do my own publishing. So like I went and I got a lawyer. I made my own company. That's where Everybody Games came from. I started putting out my own products. I had to learn how to like or do art orders. I had to learn to be an art director. I had to learn how to do like page design, graphic design, layout, all of these different things, and do that for like a decade. And then all of a sudden, Pathfinder Second Edition comes out, and they're like, no, 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 you don't need to do that. Here, we Paizo Publishing will give you all these resources. We'll give you the ability to use our settings, so you don't have to worry about trying to make up some of your own stuff. And it's like, wow, this makes things easier. And there are people out there who want content that's more tailored to the Paizoverse and its lore than what you could reasonably do as a third-party publisher. At the time, we would publish under the OGL. That doesn't happen anymore because of things that nobody wants to talk about because of shared trauma. And nowadays, yeah, right, exactly. Nowadays, you would publish under the orc license, but back then it was like you couldn't really do any of Paizo's settings. Like people would ask me, wow, Alex, you made this Kitsune compendium, how, like, why didn't you tie it into Tian Sha more? And I'm like, I can't do that, that's not allowed. But now it's like I can use all the lore I want, I can use all of the content that I want to reference, and I could do it in a way that puts it front and center to the people that are interested, because it's people who are already invested in Paizo's lore and its universe. So like I've seen personally, like I have a lot of friends throughout the Infinite Mastery like Discord and the Infinite Discord, and everybody is a little bit different. Some people are like, man, I don't want to have to learn how to do this skill or that skill, and Infinite lets me do that. And like for me, when I do my products, I'm like, well, I know how to do all these things, so I'm just gonna order my own art and make my own assets still, because I can do that. But you don't have to. And the fact that the program is so accommodating to different creators of different skill sets is what I think is most attractive about it.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And we see that too with that was the other thing. We had a micro jam that I totally forgot to mention. We had a game jam where we invited anybody to submit a one-page submission for PaizoCon's Educate, Entertain, and Inspire. And it's wild because I thought that it was just going to be, infinite creators who are already established. And we had so many new people, and it was awesome, and they were so excited. And learned too, like they would submit like a cover that was just like black text, and I would say, hey, did you know they have art packs? And they're like, what? So it was mind blowing, for them, which was really, 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 really wonderful. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, a lot of creators, even like artists will go and they'll make their own art packs. In Kitsune of Galarian, or Kitsune of Galarian Remastered, which came out last year that I put out, I went and I partnered with Eldritch Osiris Games to get like custom maps made for each of the Galarian contents. And when we were done, I was like, you keep this art. Why don't you go and put it on Infinite and see if people want to buy these maps? So like you could go on Infinite now, and like if you want to use those maps, they're there. You can pay, I think his fee is like I think it's like $3 to $5 or something like that.
That's
and
wild.
You could just grab the map and be like, oh, if I want to write my adventure, I have this map, and I'll just circle the nation where it's on, and you're done. Cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what I love about it.
I always say if Pathfinder Infinite had come out, a decade earlier, I would have been writing a decade earlier. It really kickstarted me into making my own books rather than just writing freelance. It's a fantastic resource, and it really does eliminate a lot of the biggest hurdles into writing your own books.
Yeah, which is wonderful. All right, Dustin, it's your turn to go first. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. What challenges or stumbling blocks did you think you would encounter when writing for Infinite, and what challenges or stumbling blocks did you actually encounter during your process?
Well, I had some insights into the program as I helped write a guide that Alex Augunas led that I've linked in chat on the No Direction website. That was the first iteration of using the term infinite possibilities. And the guide has a lot of useful information to help you get in there. but it doesn't have everything. And even today, there's still people trying to make it easier to put your ideas to PDF, so to speak. I think the biggest hurdle for me, aside from simply all the same writing hurdles we all have challenges of, figuring out what we want to write, concentrating on and getting it out there, was probably have more to do with standards for creating the PDFs. The technical side of things, which again, a lot of help from Alex, a lot of help from that article, a lot of help from other people in the Discord, figuring out how to make these web-ready PDFs and not simply massive print-ready PDFs that shouldn't be uploaded. So that was definitely a challenge. But I mean, the biggest challenge has always just been like artwork has always been the biggest like stumbling block for me to want to write my PDFs, has been like, I want to write this book about this idea I have, but I can't afford the artwork. I felt that way, and I felt like I don't know. It was just a hesitation. It was an excuse. It was an excuse to not do the work. And Pathfinder Infinite got rid of those excuses and those hurdles. And I didn't realize how deceptively easy it was going to be to finally get your product out there. It was just, honestly, it was just deceptively easy. There's a lot of things where I'm like, wait, how am I supposed to do this? But then I get there and try it and read the guides and do it, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. Just the little technical things like how to upload, how to write, where do you put the title of the product, how do you price your product, things like that. Once you just start talking around, it's a lot easier than you think.
I'm just remembering when you asked me to consult on Kitsune of Galarian Star Spinners, and you hyperlinked every single rules text element in that PDF, and I was like, no, honey, don't.
Alex, what about you? What did you think was going to be the most difficult, or biggest challenge, biggest stumbling blocks, and what actually was when you went through the process?
I thought that the thing that was going to be the most challenging was getting so that there's a lot of rules and a lot of things that are different about Infinite from using the OGL. And so for me going into it, I had all this experience. I knew how the OGL worked, and I didn't know how this license worked. And I thought learning a new license was going to be difficult. And that wasn't really true. The Infinite license is very straightforward. It's a lot of, I'm going to call it common sense restrictions, and for the most part, you could just do whatever. One of the things that ended up being challenging that I wasn't expecting to be challenging was kind of like figuring out the sort of content that the community wanted, because where I had come from, it was a lot of games mechanics heavy stuff. And initially when Infinite launched, people seemed like they wanted more of the rules flavor, or they wanted more expansions on things that already existed, and didn't want so much pushing the boundaries. But as I've watched the program grow and the audience grow and change along with it, that doesn't seem to be true anymore. The things that do well seem to be much more diverse, which is good. It's important to have your finger on the pulse of what your audience wants. And watching that grow and change is always fascinating, but it can be really frustrating when you have this idea that doesn't necessarily mesh with what is currently popular.
If I could jump in and plug something, we have a picture here for talking about diversity. I am so happy to see so many diverse tools, aside from just you expect adventures, you expect player guides, mechanics, but seeing stuff like maps, like Starship Maps 3, which is a Starfinder Infinite product, of just really cool maps you could use in your game, cities, starships, starports, stuff like that. Seeing these things and the VTT integration in a lot of these products is has really made me realize that this is really something special, and really opened up the infinite possibilities for what you could publish on Pathfinder Infinite. There's card games, there's novels, there's everything, so many different things.
So much. And way to go on saying the thing. You said the infinite possibilities. You said the tagline. Great job. We just got to get Alex to do it. Naturally and not forced. No, I agree with you entirely. I think that when we started, Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite, like that was kind of the direction people were like going was adventures. But like now that you look at it, there's all sorts of things. I also want to call out like the Queer Finder as well, which is like mind blowing in creativity. Like there's just so much. So I highly recommend anybody watching this, if you haven't looked through the catalog, you are missing out.
Yeah,
So.
for those to jump off of what Meredith said, if you don't know what Queer Finder is, it's basically like an old school style like Dungeon or Dragon magazine, but like for Pathfinder. Yeah.
It's so good.
It's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've used content from it in my own adventures.
Oh my god, that banshee. Was she a banshee? Was she just
She's an undead spirit dancer.
Oh my god.
Ghost. She's a ghost.
Ghost.
She almost killed us.
Oh no.
That's what she is. She's a murderer.
Yeah, and not to mention too, the other thing, the reason why Queer Finder always comes to the top of my mind too is that the cover is incredible.
Good.
And I mean it's not just Queer Finder. Like the covers across the board are just beautiful and incredible, and to see them evolve from just the art packs, like, and people like going out and like speaking to artists and working together is so exciting, and it's really, really wonderful.
Yeah, if I can jump off of that,
You
if I
may.
have an advice for anybody who's like listening and wants to like get into this, number one, it's using the art pack for your inside is a great idea, and you can use it for the cover too, but just remember that like the cover is the thing that people are going to see from you first, and unfortunately people do judge PDFs by their covers. If you go and you get just a little bit and if you get yourself like, if you're willing to put the money in and get a good cover that gets people's attention, like it'll make your product really shine. Like you definitely want to do that at the bare minimum.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to jump off of you, Alex, because one of the things that I see on drive-through, and of course we see it on Pathfinder, Starfinder Infinite, and I'm going to use this opportunity to tell everybody, there are a couple things that people look at. Number one, your cover. You don't have to be in it. You don't have to have this like wild, super expensive, like, super arty, like there's all sorts of ways that like you can be creative, essentially, simply. Black text on white, immediate no, because a lot of people do that. But just like doing a little bit of something creative, even just being creative with the title, or there's tons of opportunities as well. We have on Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite, we do have like a article that is stock art, essentially. A lot of people don't realize, I tell people this every time and it blows their mind, museums have tons and tons of stock art. Tons, just free. Just you can use them however you want, which is great. And so there's a lot of different opportunities there. Number two, your preview. Make sure you have a nice looking preview. A lot of times people will like forego a preview, but they'll have like a 120-page book. A lot of people just kind of want to see what they're getting into. So preview is important. The most important thing is your description, actually. One of the things that I see a lot is people will say an adventure for Pathfinder. That doesn't tell the customer what it is. So investing time into your description is wonderful. My the president of Roll20, Steve Wick, always says you spent 2 months on this creation. Spend 20 minutes on your descriptions and show people what makes it great. That's super, super important. So yeah, description is important. And think about it. Yeah. And think about it this way. My hot tip always is, if you were a customer who has never heard of you, has never heard of your work, and even a little bit has never heard of Pathfinder or Starfinder, I'm not saying you got to write a dissertation explaining the history of Pathfinder on your description, but what would help you, buy? What would influence you? So, but yes, Dustin, you were saying something. Go.
Oh, I was just going to bring up that you could also, of course, use community use art from the community use Paizo, a very large portion of the pictures that Paizo posts to our blog, that just shows the inside art or even cover art of various Pathfinder books, can be used for your cover or inside your book, and that has been an invaluable resource. There's just, like a dozen plus of these pictures released every week, so there's tons of them in there, and you can find tips on how to find those pieces and make sure that they're part of the community use package at our Discord at infinite.net.
Yeah, absolutely. And RPG Elise said this. The other thing, putting samples of your layout in the description is helpful. And media pieces. You look at, we talk about Team Plus. Team Plus is pretty well known around the Infinite community. They have probably one of the best descriptions, in my opinion, where it's the tagline, the bullet points of what you're getting, and then they have a little friend that kind of spices up the description. Like, it doesn't need, it's so simple, but it's so effective. So yeah.
Yeah, they recently released Summoners Plus. Which
Yeah.
I believe we have the cover of.
Do
and
we?
I will.
Do we just pull it up?
I think so.
Do we? Do we? I think we do.
Show off the cover. Give those people money.
Yes.
Oh.
Give those people American dollars.
I mean,
there we go. Yeah, and these covers, the Plus, I love how they have these covers all done. I believe Derry Luttrell,
Yes.
yeah, illustrates all these covers, and it gives the Team Plus a very distinct brand identity and a very distinct feeling. So you'll instantly know when you see one of their products, oh, that's a Team Plus product. I know what's going to be inside. I know what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
And they've been very successful building their brand.
And there's plenty too of a lot of Infinite creators who have essentially made a brand for themselves, which shows up, which is awesome. I'm in for it.
I know one such Infinite creator who's been really good at making a brand for himself.
Who is that?
Yeah, who?
Oh, just some every person gamer.
Oh, are you talking about me and my foxes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Hi, that's me. I like Kitsune.
Speaking of, Alex, can you talk a little bit about, we're kind of talking about branding a little bit, and talking about what books look like, and like you do have that consistency, and I have to completely agree with Dustin on it. So
thank you.
what was the direction for that? Like, aside from obviously you love Kitsune, like what is, why did you want to go in that direction and continue going in that direction?
Well, so for me, I think one of the most important things when you're trying to figure out what you want to do, and I know you told me to not say I like Kitsune, but like, if you have passion for something, then your passion is going to be in that product. People are going to see that you care, right? You shouldn't go and make something just because you think it's going to check off the boxes on what the community wants. I promise you that if you have a hyperfixation like I do, and you make a product about it, there's going to be at least one other person out there who sees that and goes, wow, I can tell you put a lot of love into this. I am going to do it. And so like when you're doing your branding, when you're showing off what your work is, show how much you care about the thing you put out. That's not something that you can always get from a like an official product. Like obviously Paizo loves everything they put out and loves everything that they do, but their books are so big and they have to apply to such a general audience that they're not going to be able to match me blow for blow and how much I like Fox people. Like, sorry, it's not going to happen. And you can capitalize that. That's your biggest strength. The fact that you've got a heart and you've got complete control over what you're doing. So keep that in mind first. The next thing that you can do is, it's going to sound silly, especially if you're someone like me who's a very like rules focused, like mechanic gameplay kind of guy, but like how you present your stuff and specifically what it looks like is so important. So like when I did my most recent remastering of Kitsune of Galarian, one of the things I looked for is I was like, okay, if I was going to make this look like it's a fox book, how can I do that? And so what I came to, I was like, well, everybody knows that foxes are orange, so I'm going to make orange the primary color of this book. And then I was like, well, I need this orange to pop. So I'm going to pick the shade of orange I wanted. And I literally went online and found like a whole bunch of samplings of different fox colors and picked an orange that I liked. And then I went to like a color tool, like a color theory tool, plugged in the orange's code and got a teal blue that was opposite of it. And literally the entire book is gold, orange, and teal blue. And if you go through all of the headings, the main headings are orange and all the sub headings are teal. And you just go through and you create this sort of like consistency and just the crispness in how you're going to do it. This was my strategy, Mike. I like sans serif fonts better than serif fonts. I think that they look more modern, and the Pathfinder community in general really brands itself as like a modern tabletop gaming experience. So I'm like, I'm gonna use this modern looking font, and I picked all my fonts out. I very consistently applied them. I painstakingly went through InDesign and made sure that I had every single header and footing matching and like everything, literally to the point where like I could type a few lines, hit enter. And Dustin has seen this in some of my InDesign products where literally you hit enter and it just goes to the next style, and it makes, I use the machine to make sure that I keep everything very consistent. And honestly, that consistency and that level of like extra thought and how you are going to take your work and present it is what makes you different from, you know, the run-of-the-mill person who is black page border, white black text on a white background. You remember Team Plus because they have a consistent style, right? Their text, they use the same jump product to product. They use the same heading font. If you can pick something that you like that matches what you're doing and that fits that you're doing, you'll find that it'll go really far. I would imagine that if Team Plus was going to do a product that was focused more on like Tian Sha, they would probably change their heading slightly to have that feel. Like they might add some draconic flourishes for the Dragon Empires, or they might like change the coloring to match like whatever nation they wanted to do. So like keeping that consideration into your brand is really how you make yourself look one step above what everybody else is doing.
Right, and if you click the link that I posted in chat, you can see the inside of the book on the images that Alex posted on his product description, which will help you get an idea of this layout he's mentioning.
Listen, my team and I worked way too hard on that book for me not to show people like a billion pages for free. It's fine.
Oh yeah, we don't have enough time to talk about how he programmed traits.
No, but you don't understand. I've programmed traits, and then I've literally given it to like half a dozen people, including Dustin and Louise Loza. Like I take that and I'll just like give it to you. The secret is that if you go into InDesign, go under to the underline menu, make a really thick underline, and use the underline tool. Done. I did it in 10 seconds, and you thought we didn't have enough time. I win.
Okay.
Winner.
Oh, this is a great transition. All right, Alex, I'm coming to you, okay?
Uh-oh.
And I have this great idea that I would like to collaborate for something for
Sure.
Pathfinder Infinite. What would you say are your hottest tips and biggest challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them for when you did collaboration projects?
I think the biggest challenge is you need to go out and you need to find people, and it's not just about finding people, it's about finding the right people. In my experience, as much as it would be wonderful for people to come to you for collaboration, oftentimes that doesn't happen. Most people either have an idea and they want to do it themselves, or they think to themselves, I could never be good enough to collaborate. And let me tell you, as I've mentioned before, I made Everybody Games years ago, and that sort of came out of this idea of, oh, I think I could never do this, but what if I could? And you'd be really surprised what you can get if you ask somebody and you pitch things to them. One example that isn't really related to Infinite, but is tangentially related to this topic. I wrote a book for the OGL called The Advanced Occult Guide years ago. It's like a book that's all like occult rules for Starfinder. It lots of stuff. And I was like, I really want short stories in this book, but I want like things that are probably better than what I could write. What would I do? And so like I ended up asking a couple of my designer friends for help, and they were like, oh, you should message this person. And I was like, is this name right? Because that's Leanne Merciel. Leanne Merciel is a New York Times best-selling author. I don't think I could get that. And so they're like, just try. You never know. Writers like money. and so they gave me the email. I sent out, hey, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. Are you interested? And Leanne was like, yeah, I'll write you some short stories. That's pretty easy. You're asking only for like 4 1-pagers. Like I could do that. And I'm like the Chris Pratt meme, like oh, so like you just take your shot. You're never gonna know. So like when it comes to being on a collaboration and you want to collaborate with people, ask. It might not be the right time, but even being told no doesn't usually mean no forever. It usually means no, not right now. That would be rule number 1. Rule number 2, when you're collaborating with people, you should try and figure out how each of the person that you're collaborating with works best with you. Sometimes you're going to have people who want to be off and they want to go into their cave and they want to seal the stone door. And then 5 days later, they push the stone door open and they hand you perfection. And then they walk away into the mist and like you won't see them again for 5 years. And it's like, okay. Oh, okay. And that is collaboration. I've also been a part of like official Paizo discords where like everybody gets into a discord and they start riffing and joking and having a good time. And then amazing stuff comes out of that too. Everybody is different. So try to figure out what people would thrive in. And you can ask them like, hey, what would be best for you? Would you like me to try to get everyone together? You want to just go about it and do your own thing? What works? And you'll find that when you meet people where they're at and try to collaborate with other people in a way that works for both of you, you're going to get a better product out of it.
And if you are asked to collaborate for a if I come to you and say, I'm writing this book on this subject I think you're good at, do you want to help? And you're just not in a place, you have too much stuff, you have too many other projects, just say so. Very often it will just become, oh, that's okay, because I wasn't sure about writing this now, I'll write it in 3 months, or thank you very much, I'll ask you again later if I want to write on this again, because it's much better to miss one little opportunity than to completely burn out, not get the writing in on time, get something in that's subpar. You know, your reputation is more important than that, and it's a mark of a good reputation when a writer says, no, I can't write now. That tells me, oh, they take this seriously. Awesome. Also do want to point out that there's collaborative roles on the Discord at infinite.net, and that's a great resource to help you find people. I especially needed it for my editor, Script, who has helped me immensely. It's really, really a great thing to find an editor who knows the rules and knows the game themselves, in addition to language. So you could find things like editors, graphic designers, artists, writers, whatever you might need for your project. They're out there, they're looking to help, and they really do make your product shine.
Awesome. Thank you. Dustin, do you have any other hot tips that you can think of
On
that Alex hasn't mentioned?
collaboration?
On collaboration, yes.
Oh,
No,
just what I mentioned right now.
Okay, cool.
Take your shot. Do it.
Take your shot. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, there's never to bounce off y'all is, the worst someone's going to say is no. And that's okay, and isn't a reflection of you. And collaborations are so cool. When I see them on Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite and I see all the names, I'm like, wow, like that's so neat. It's so much love into it. I mean, like, people put a lot of love into their individual pieces, but like being able to watch a team essentially make a bunch of work together, edit it down so it's all consistent, having the artwork, having the layout, and it just comes out to be this beautiful piece of work is wonderful. And I love that. So collaboration is great. Everybody should.
I wanna hop off of that for a second.
Go ahead. We're hopping off everybody.
Yeah, right. We're just playing leapfrog.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's really important to remember about collaboration is that like when you get everybody together, there's this expectation that like you're all equals and you're all doing things together and you're all, you know, getting the content together. But at the end of the day, somebody is doing the editing and somebody has to determine what the direction of that product is. And one of the things that can be hard, whether you're a freelancer for a company like Paizo or whether you are collaborating with your friends at Team Plus, that thing that can be hard is like this idea that like sometimes people's work needs to change in order to fit the overall tone of the product and the overall direction. I would say that like one of the things to really keep in mind is like that is a necessity when you do collaboration. Not everything that you write is always going to stay exactly the way that it is. Things need to change, and so be okay with that. Be like understand that like in order for the project to become greater than the sum of its parts, it does mean that those parts need to work together in harmony. And somebody's job should be to make everything feel like uniform and whole. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense. I understood what you said. And editors in my mind are magicians
Yes.
to me consistently.
Magic.
That someone can go, 10 voices, got it. And it all
Yeah.
sounds so consistent. And I'm like, y'all are magicians. I don't know how you do it. So shout out to our editors.
Can we talk
Oh.
about editors since you brought it up? That'd be a pretty cool transition.
Okay, we're transitioning.
Sure.
Are we? Did you want to talk more about this? I'm cool.
I got one little thing to say here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing fun about Infinite is not only do you get to play in the Golarion and Pact Worlds settings, and use all that delicious Starfinder and Pathfinder goodness, but you can write very directly in a way that's almost like you're collaborating with the Paizo products. The Infinite Masters always have stuff released like this that ties directly with the latest Pathfinder product. And there are a lot of things out there, like I just saw, and I've never seen this before, the Dalian, I can't pronounce that word, this handbook that goes with a famous academy in Absalom that they printed and released that allows you to expand on existing adventures in there. So if your players, if you find that after your game of Secrets in the Academy or one of the other Dalian K adventures really kicks off and your players love the Academy, but you're like, but there's only, the 36 pages or whatever of information about the Academy, go on Infinite and hey, look, there's an entire product somebody made where they put their heart and soul into expanding this one little tiny section of Golarion that otherwise wouldn't have been expanded because Paizo has only so many pages that we could print per year. So Infinite really allows people to expand on that. And in a lot of cases, it's the same authors. I know there was a Starfinder Society scenario that takes place in a giant prison, and the author then released an additional lot of pages expanding on the entirety of the prison and every little corner of the prison and all the people there and everything that could happen there. So there's a lot of really cool products there that are like collaborations with the existing content that you love from Paizo.
What I'm hearing is that you
great.
should release a product that's just the political dynamics of shark people, right?
One paragraph, one page. That's it.
Oh.
Now, Dustin wrote a scenario about shark people and had like 12 pages of background for like their political history that didn't
Incredible.
get submitted. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just go ahead, Dustin, to do it.
You have to get the voice of the characters for their 2 lines they have before they get killed by the PCs.
Oh, to jump off of that too, one thing I want to tell people who haven't started creating it, a lot of times we're talking about these bigger books on Infinite. You do not have to write a dissertation or a 300-page, 200-page, 100-page book. Sometimes it could be simple, like, essentially what we did with the microjam, right? Where we said it was 1 page. That's it. Like, because sometimes that information can fit on 1 page. So don't feel that you have to essentially compare yourself to the other pages, because we have on Infinite PDFs that are from 1 page all the way up to like 300. So there's no essentially right or wrong size. That's super important to mention.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Spell Trickster is like 8 pages. I mean,
Yeah.
probably 7 pages if you take out the cover and the licensing page. And it's been one of my best selling products on Infinite. And it's just here's a bunch of feats for this one very specific archetype from one Paizo book. Here you go.
Yeah. Good luck
Throw
out
it
there.
at them.
Yeah, good luck. Your players, good luck.
No, listen though, but that one's needed because that archetype is all built around being able to cast cantrips, and like the original one just doesn't hit enough. Like, and that's the thing. Like a good infinite product is one that identifies places where existing content needs expansion, right? It like you could certainly get away with doing your own thing, but like even a new adventure in a place that doesn't get much adventure traction is an expansion of something that doesn't have content. So like that's where you should look. I would hazard a guess that like while places like Cheliax and Nermanthus have like lots of content and are popular, you might not get a lot of sales there because Paizo does a lot there. Like similarly, like I personally don't know that like unless I was Team Plus and it was adding expansions to like something that new that was coming out, I might try to look at places that people are interested, but like maybe it needs a little bit more.
Yeah. Need a little love, as we like to say. Like, just needs a little bit of love, and especially because there are so many options, infinite possibilities, which is great.
No.
Oh, we did it.
I had a chance and I missed it.
You missed it. I'm gonna get Alex. We're gonna get you. Don't
It's
worry.
okay that you missed it. There's infinite possibilities to get.
Oh my god, I hate both of you.
Dustin's on 2. I'm on 2. Alex, come on.
Do we have an opportunity to talk about editors now?
Let's talk about editors. Please. Absolutely, please go.
So we could start by agreeing that editors are magic, right?
Yes.
Literal magicians.
Like forget the ponies. It's editors that are magic.
Yeah, just ponies are like number 2. Like, yeah.
So let's start. The thing that you should know is that you need to know what kind of editor you want because there are different types of editors that specialize in different things. You can have text editors that are literally just checking your work to see if you have made spelling or grammatical errors, right? I think a grammatical editor is the technical term for it. I am not an official person, so you're going to hear me use wrong terms all day. It's going to be great. You'll love it. So like you're going to have an editor that specializes in editing your like grammar, your text, your sentence syntax, your structure. You also have editors that are narrative. Like these are the people that are looking at your adventures and are like, is this story consistent? Does this plot make sense? Do you resolve all of your questions? Do you have all this content that you say that you have? Then the third type of editor is like a game editor who is going to look at your rules and be like, do these mechanics match up? Like, is this too powerful in the context of the overall game? And it's important to know what kind of editor you want and what the editor you're hiring will do and can do. Because different editors are good at different things. It's always important to ask. I've worked with game editors and they have missed syntax stuff. And I was like, oh no, I wanted a grammatical editor. Oh no. And you may need to pay for multiples. You may find the rare editor who will do more than one. But when you do, remember that person's rate is going to be higher. So always make sure you know what type of editor you're looking for and what type of editor you need. If you are Dustin and you're writing 7 pages of spell tricks, you probably don't need a narrative editor, for example.
Yeah, and I'll bounce off of that. I'm cheating for the record. One of my peers, Sadie Lowry, who's done a bunch of work for actually DM's Guild, is an editor, and it's proofreading, copy editing, and developmental editing is the 3 things that she offers. So that's because I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, I think those are the ones. But you're right, and that's something that's important. And I think that also too, like that's with most anything, right? Like with writing too, like there are writers who have very specific skills as well.